She won't regret leaving you when you cry. She won't regret it when you chase, explain, or wait. She'll regret it the moment you disappear, become silent, and never look back. There's something unsettling about silence, especially when it comes from someone who once gave you everything, because silence isn't just the absence of words, it's the absence of access, the absence of power. It's the moment someone realizes you're not waiting anymore. And that's the moment she'll start to regret everything. Not because you begged, not because you tried to prove your worth, but because you became something she can't reach anymore. This is the part they don't talk about, the part most men never understand. That regret doesn't come from your pain, it comes from your distance, because emotional availability is addictive, and when you suddenly remove it, the withdrawal is sharp and real. She may have acted like she didn't care when she walked away. She may have looked unbothered, distracted, cold, but all of that was control. Control over the situation, control over you, control over the narrative. And when she starts to feel that control slipping, when you no longer respond, no longer chase, no longer orbit her world, the entire dynamic shifts. It's in that moment that the regret begins. Because what people don't value when they feel in control, they start to crave once they feel powerless. Attraction, in its rawest form, is not about who gives the most. It's about who can't be moved. And she will chase what she can't move. Because modern dating runs on one unspoken currency: emotional power. Not love, not words, not even effort, but the subtle pull created by scarcity, restraint, and distance. She will never say it out loud, but the man who walks away with quiet confidence, who doesn't explain himself, doesn't plead, doesn't react, will haunt her more than the one who wrote paragraphs begging to be understood. Because women don't remember the men who tried too hard. They remember the ones who made them question themselves, and there's a reason for that. In her mind, she needs to believe that she could always come back to you, that if she changed her mind tomorrow, you'd still be there, that she still holds that power. But the moment she senses you're gone, truly gone, not pretending, it shakes her, deeply. She starts to wonder, did he really move on that fast? Was he always this strong? Did I ever matter the way I thought I did? Was I just a phase in his growth? And that's where the chase begins. Not from love, but from ego. Not from clarity, but from curiosity. Not because she's sure, but because your silence made her unsure. You see, attraction isn't always about genuine connection. It's often about emotional imbalance. And the more unavailable you become, not out of game playing, but out of growth, the more she feels the need to pull you back. Because feminine psychology responds to stability and distance differently than masculine psychology does. Men often try to repair. Women often test to confirm. And when you fail the test by being too eager, too reactive, too emotional, you validate her decision to leave. But when you pass the test, by being still, by building, by becoming more grounded, something shifts inside her. And it doesn't matter how much time has passed, because time doesn't erase emotional memory, it sharpens it. She'll look at your life from a distance and see someone who didn't collapse without her, someone who didn't make her absence the center of his identity, someone who used pain as fuel, someone who outgrew the version of himself she once knew. That's what triggers the regret. Not the fact that she left, but the fact that you didn't need her to come back. And there's nothing more terrifying to someone who once held your attention than realizing you're now unreachable. Not because you blocked her, but because you outgrew her. This is where power begins, not in manipulation, but in transformation. You must understand this. No amount of chasing, reasoning, or proving will ever bring back a woman who has mentally checked out, but becoming a man she no longer recognizes because you've evolved far beyond what she left. That's what forces her to reflect. Not every woman will admit it. Not every woman will return, but almost all will wonder, especially when the man they once knew has become someone of presence, discipline, and control. This is where emotional detachment becomes your greatest weapon, not as a cold strategy, but as a natural result of healing, growing, and reclaiming your center. When she left, you probably thought about all the things you did wrong, all the times you weren't enough, all the ways you could have been better. But in reality, her departure had less to do with your flaws and more to do with her perception of value. She didn't walk away because you failed. She walked away because she didn't feel the pull. And the pull isn't created by perfection, it's created by emotional gravity. When a man has presence, when he's rooted in discipline, grounded in silence, and led by principle, he becomes a force. He doesn't try to be chosen. He becomes so whole, so still, so secure, that not being chosen doesn't shake him. That's the moment she feels the regret. Not when you break, but when you don't. Because walking away doesn't just create distance, it creates perspective. She begins to realize that you weren't just another guy trying to win her. You were a man building something with or without her, and that's a very different energy. You weren't asking for her to complete you. You were offering her a place in your peace, and she walked away from it. Now she has to live with that. And yes, sometimes she will come back. But by then, you'll need to ask yourself, do you still want her? Or do you only miss who you were when you were with her? Because growth will reveal truths you couldn't see when you were still healing. And that's why the most powerful move isn't to wait, to wish, or to chase. It's to build, in silence, without needing her to see it. That's when she starts chasing. And if she doesn't, it doesn't matter. Because you've already become someone better than who she left. That's the transformation. And if you're in that phase right now, hurting, healing, overthinking, it's time to shift inward. Not toward bitterness, not toward revenge, but toward quiet, undeniable power. Detach from the story, detach from the need to be chosen, detach from the hope that she'll regret it, and instead become the kind of man who doesn't need to be chased, but always gets remembered. And if you want to go deeper into this shift, if you're tired of chasing and ready to become the one they chase, check out the relationship ebook, How to Stop Chasing Love and Make Them Chase You. It's written to guide you through the emotional shift, the power dynamic, and the mindset that makes you unforgettable. The link is in the description below. This isn't about games, it's about gravity, and gravity doesn't beg, it pulls. Become the man who doesn't flinch, the man who can feel pain and still move forward, the man who walks alone, not because he has no one, but because he refuses to follow anyone who doesn't value him, because the man who can walk away is the man they chase, not immediately, not always visibly, but silently, eventually, unavoidably. She'll regret it, not because you told her to, but because you left without needing her to feel it, and in that silence, she will. Closure doesn't come from words. It comes when you stop needing to be heard, when you stop waiting to be chosen, and start choosing yourself. That's when the regret begins. That's when the chase begins. That's when the power returns. If this spoke to you, don't say a word, just feel it. Let it change you, because the men who rise do it in silence. This is Fact Scope. Stay silent, stay sharp, stay gone.